Drive-thru workers of Reddit, what's the weirdest thing you have heard someone say through the microphone when they thought you could not hear them? Told my cousin to shut the frick up, and the guy taking our order through the drive-thru thought it was directed towards him. He paused for a good minute before asking if we'd like to make our order a combo. This makes me sad. If this drive-thru guy's hot, I'll frick him through the window. To which I replied, make it fast, there's a car behind you. Smooth. I had a man order a wrap in the drive-thru. I asked him if he wanted chug-rolled, Caesar, or spicy. His response, raspberry. I want raspberry. Oh, Chick-fil-A customers. I once had a group of college students pull into the drive-thru at 2 in the morning, singing My Heart Will Go On. Quite well, actually. After they sang the final line, they abruptly accelerated over a concrete slab and into a parked car. The best part? It was my manager's car. Canada has apologized for Celine Dion on many occasions. They didn't say anything, but this group of teenage guys drove through drive-thru in reverse. It was quite an impressive act really because our drive-thru curves pretty tightly. I did a double take when they came around to my window. Also, I handed some 50-year-old guy his ice cream cone, and when he took it he asked me with a straight face, "Do you believe in unicorns?" I was taken by surprise at his question, and before I could answer he slammed the cone on his forehead and just drove off normally. The lady taking my order got really pissed at me because I thought she couldn't hear me. I had just gotten gas at the gas station next door, and I was in the middle of my order when the man in line behind me got out of his car to inform me I had left the lid to my gas tank open, and he shut it for me. So, like a decent person, I stick my head further out my window and say back to him, "Thank you, sir," and then continue with my order. The lady at the drive-thru went from friendly to cold, and when I pulled up to the window to get my food she gave me the meanest look and said, "Thank you, sir, I'm a woman, by the way." No. Thank you, sir. You gotta keep sucking UW. That's part of the fantasy I paid for. Hearing that at 17 made me think I was the only sane person left in the world. I always picture these people wanting Happy Meals for some reason. My father, once, in his youth, he was at a drive-thru with a friend of his, and upon receiving his meal it seemed the female worker who'd handed it to him had walked out of earshot. At that moment my father turned to his friend and at an excited indoor-speaking voice proclaimed, "She looks like she'd be a good frick." He turned his head back only to see she was standing right there. She heard, "She's my mom now." Not really a drive-thru. I work at a pizza place, and once had a customer come in, all sweaty and panting like he's trying out for a Nicolas Cage double. "You got any charcoal? I really need some charcoal." The way he said the word charcoal will forever be burned into my memory. He was a drug mule that had a balloon pop. The only way to save his life was to ingest charcoal. I don't work in fast food, but when I order food I usually ask them to throw in a party with an extra side of party. I was asked at the window if I was looking for ecstasy. Not even something said. We had a car pull up with what sounded like college kids. I say, "Welcome to Steak and Shake. Would you like to try a number one?" And then they giggled for 94 straight seconds. Drive-thru timer told us so, and said we need a minute. It was college kids, and I could smell the weed 10 feet away. A friend of mine used to love to troll the drive-thru people. One time he pulled up and started to order, and about halfway through said, "Hold on, I'm really sorry. Guys, will you shut the frick up? I mean really, I am trying to fricking order, you rude frick. Sorry about that. So anyways, I'll have." When he pulled up to pay there were 4 employees waiting there for him and were confused as heck when it was just him sitting there, alone. This doesn't quite pertain, but I once offered a man to buy a cookie, as my manager wanted us to sell more. His reply, "Get behind me, Satan. This bakery smells of the devil." So this was totally my fault. In my defense, I had already been working for 4 hours as it was only 9 AM. We were listening to music in the back, and I was taking orders, and instead of saying, "Welcome to McDonald's, what can I get for you today?" I said, "Don't you wish your girlfriend was hot like me?" I swear. The daughter said no freaking way, and the mom start laughing. I try and salvage the situation and take their order, but they are still laughing as they get to the window. Did you just ask if I wished my girlfriend was hot like you? I said no. Their laughter indicated that they didn't believe me. TL. DR. Don't listen to the pussycat dolls in the morning, or ever. Hahaha, seriously made my night. Well, from the opposite side, I was dropping some boots off at a women's shelter for a friend. It was after hours and so I buzzed up to get someone down to get them for her. No one was allowed in after hours. The lady who I was talking to was about as rude to me as you can get, ending our conversation with "I'm freaking busy here, get lost." Now I thought she had clicked off, so I said sure, no problem. B. Only to hear her say immediately, "What did you call me?" Oops. Jesse Pinkman has this problem all the time. Wasn't me, but my friend had some guy try walking around the drive-thru making car sounds with his mouth and pretending to use a steering wheel. I had the cops called on me when I went through the drive-thru on a skateboard when I was 16. I used to work at one of those burger places where the food is bigger than your face. I once had a guy come through my drive-thru close to midnight. He ordered enough food to feed about 5 people, but then only 1 drink. Then when he got to the window, he was the only one in the car. I figured he was picking up food for other people and maybe only one needed a drink. Anyways, I give him his drink and close the window to wait for the rest of his order. While he's waiting, I look over and see him just staring down at his lap with much focus. I didn't really think much of it until I went to give him his food and opened the window to find him rolling a blunt. He looks up at me, then down at his lap and just picks up his baggie and open blunt, puts it on the dash, and grabs his food. He was so casual about it. I realized later he was probably planning to eat all that food himself. That was years ago and I still laugh every time I think about that guy. I wasn't working at the drive-thru, but I was ordering at a KFC drive-thru and had 2 fans with me. I asked my one friend what he wanted to drink and he said he wanted a Dr. Pepper. Me thinking it would be funny, I said Dr. Pepper to the woman taking my order. Immediately after the words Dr. Pepper left my mouth, a rather angry male voice came over the speaker and said, "I'm sorry, but we don't sell Dr. Pepper here." A bit in shock at this point, I asked for the proper beverage and finished with the order. I'm fairly certain my potatoes had spit in them. About 14 years ago, working the drive-thru at MCD's, heard 2 guys discussing a drug deal. Maybe that's not all that weird. A police officer asked for a little leg from female manager and a little honey from another female manager, chuckled and placed his real order. The first manager was my mom. This was within my first week working in fast food. I can't even think. I've heard kids screaming so loud that they sound like dying cats, and I've heard people singing. I wish I have heard worse. Would definitely make my job less painful to get a laugh now and then. You say that until you hear a fat woman giving a hairy Mexican a BJ. I once took an order from what sounded like some dumb blonde. Like, OMG, I want a double cheeseburger, like with a large fries with a voice and everything. Turned out to be a fluffy Mexican dude. I pulled into a Taco Bell drive-thru once when I was stoned and I tried to say I wanted a beef crunch wrap supreme and I said, "Yeah, I'll have a beach." And then I giggled for like 3 full minutes before I could finally order for real. I wish I could go back through and apologize for being so dang typical. Replace stoned by buzzed on alcohol and get a shirt storm over you. I'm a regular at a Wendy's drive-thru and the guy that works late night likes to make up names for himself and do them in a somewhat feminine voice. "Hello, welcome to Wendy's. My name is Lady Gaga. How may I help you?" When I was managing a McDonald's, I heard children screaming and then my drive-thru worker screaming as their truck was being stolen. The guy had no weapons, he just beat the frick out of the mother until she got out. It was pretty intense. It was Halloween night 2007, I believe. I wish they sold drug here. I proceeded to tell him to pull round back because his food would be coming from a freshly cleaned fryer, meaning it takes a bit to get the new oil to heat up. Which was the truth. Delivered food and drug. Forever a repeat customer. I used to always get "whoa, I like his voice" from the passengers, because I tended to answer the DT in a game show announcer voice. A buddy of mine used to do telemarketing. He was a huge drama performer in our high school previous to this and used to try all sorts of different voices. He's quite talented and turned out to be one of the most successful telemarketers there before he quit, because telemarketing is a crappy job even with fun voices. I don't work at a drive-thru, but I work at a restaurant that takes to-go orders. When you finish up the order, the last thing you need to ask is, "Can I have your name please?" so we can call them out when the order is ready. Well, I asked one lady, and she said no. Just no. She wouldn't tell me her name. So I wrote down that her name was Charzad and went to the next order. This song is riding up something fierce. Higher pitched voice, a bit feminine. Did not expect 300-pound black man. Consequently, he was a very nice guy, and ended up being a regular. This made me grin. D. This will likely get buried, but here goes. When I was 16 I worked in McDonald's drive-thru. On a Sunday evening I had a customer begin his order asking for a double cheeseburger with no pickles, and then he just stopped talking. After several, "Sir, did you need a moment with your order?" and, "Sir, can you hear me?" I just figured dude had realized he'd forgotten his wallet or something. But I thought it was pretty weird because the drive-thru was a one-way lane and he hadn't driven by my window. I had one of the guys working the grill go outside and pretend to check on the display sign to see what was going on. Grill guy runs back in, obviously shaken and talking really fast. Crap, I think the guy's dead. I can't tell. He's all slumped over. His window was down, but he didn't move when I asked if he was okay. He's dead, so we let the shift manager, who was only a 23-year-old guy, know what was going on, and he called 911. The ambulance showed up a few minutes later. By this time, our drive-thru line was wrapped around the building because people wanted to gawk. They did CRP on the dude for a minute or so, but nothing seemed to change. Then they loaded him into the ambulance and one of the ambulance drivers moved the guy's car out of the drive-thru lane. Our manager called to check on him later that evening and we found out that he'd had a massive heart attack and probably died almost instantly. I was the last person to hear the dude's voice, which was ordering a double cheeseburger with no pickles. Pretty scary. I'm 27 now, so that was 11 years ago and I still can remember every detail. Whoa, all that fast food ended up being the death of him. Ironic, isn't it? Yeah, I've been on the opposite side. And I wish I could have been the one to hear our conversation. Last summer at a Taco Bell drive-thru I was with two other people and we had just finished smoking a joint or a bowl. It was late and now we had the munchies. So here we are, at the order box. It's a conjoined KFC and Taco Bell. I'm the only one who wants KFC. So the driver gives them my order because I always get the same. The girl at the window says the KFC part is closed. Well, the frick. It's one building, so whatever. I'm stoned so I don't care. Driver tells the girl to hold on a second. She says no problem and clicks off. Now we're sitting there discussing the Holt Bell menu for 10 minutes. When we decide what we want, it's 3 of the same thing without any variations. The girl knew exactly when we were done talking and ready to order. She heard us the entire time. I'm fairly sure that most drive-thrus that use headsets can't just turn it off. The customer has to drive away before it will click off, just like it clicks on when they drive up. She can turn her mic off, but not the whole headset. We hear everything. Kind of comes in handy, though. I've posted this before, so here goes. Was in the backseat of a friend's car many years ago. He was driving. Another friend in the front passenger's seat. Bank window. Driver's cashing his paycheck. Passenger sees the cute teller girl. I'm in the back. Comments to the driver, "Dang, she's hot. I want to suck on her snatch till her head caves in." Teller looks up, wide-eyed, and then turns beet red. People at the counter in the bank start looking at us in the car. Apparently, the passenger didn't realize the outside microphone was actually on. We about died laughing. The teller finished the transaction then just walked away. My sister works McDonald's and said they take pictures of the vehicle when you order to prevent order confusion. So every time I'm in the line I make sure to make the funniest face I can. Till everyone working the McDonald's drive-thru has seen me pick my nose. I was once waiting in a long drive-thru line at McDonald's. The car behind me kept yelling "Dan, is that you, Dan?" over and over, as if they were trying to get the attention of the cars ahead of me. Eventually a passenger from the car in front of me leaned half his body out of the window and yelled, "My name's not Dan, you cheeseburger eating frick." Once when I was in a drive-thru with a couple of my buddies, we got through the ordering process just fine without any problems. We get to the window to pay the cashier. Just as I was about to hand the lady a $20 bill, my friend behind me decides to hit me open-handed right in the ear. I immediately become enraged, crush the 20 in my fist, slam the car in park and turn around to just punch the living crap out of my friend for a solid 10 minutes. While we were having WrestleMania X in my car, my other friend sitting passenger is dying laughing when he notices the lady looking at him asking him if she should call the cops. After the match is over, I unwrinkled the 20 from my fist and handed it to the cashier. After that we got our food and left. TLDR. Buddy and me had a straight up fist fight in a drive-thru in a car. I really wanna contribute to this thread, but I can't stop laughing at the thought of this. Some of my friends were going through the drive-thru wearing Batman masks, so we all tried to order Justice with a side of Justice and a medium Justice to drink and 2 small packets of ketchup. When that didn't work, we ordered just ice. I think this was at Sonic. It wasn't weird, but I definitely heard the guy say to his passenger, "I'm gonna pay this sucker in change." He did too. All pennies. My manager made him count and roll them and put the rolls on a scale. He tried to short us about 10 pennies per roll, and my manager had his food in a bag and his large drink in hand and started to hand it out the window when his grip failed and he dropped it all on the pavement. He then went back and got all his shortened rolls of pennies and gave them back to him. Best counter dong move I've personally witnessed. Late at night, car full of college kids, driver places the order in a spot on Boris Badenov impression. I answered with a perfect bullwinkle. Car arrived at window. Order and money were exchanged with completely straight faces, continuing to maintain silly voices. The passengers were in hysterics. Sorta the reverse, but funny nonetheless. I was at a McDonald's drive-thru with my older cousin, speaks only Spanish, and we were about to order. He asks the attendant if she spoke Spanish. She said no and got someone who did. Cousin tells me to order, so I order in English. We could hear the 2 girls arguing that we did speak English and the first one says that we said that we didn't. Going up to the window to pay and get our food was a tad awkward. What the frick, don't lick my butt plug yet, the McDonald life. Also, one of my mangers when she was a crew, she saw a chick giving a guy a BJ while they were going through the drive-thru. I used to work at a Starbucks and would goof around on the drive-thru speaker all the time. My favorite thing to do was pretend to be Australian. People bought it all the time. I remember I heard a woman say to someone in her car right after I took their order, "I love Australian men." She started hitting on me at the window and then gave me her number. We're married now and have 2 kids. She still thinks I'm Australian, mate. I want to believe. I've been working food service for several years and worked in several different places. I have done and heard many things that could be put on this. 2 of the ones that stick most in my mind are when I was working at a Dairy Queen drive-thru. One evening during the summer, it was at about that point where it was starting to get dark but not quite dark enough for the streetlights to have fully kicked on. At this particular Dairy Queen, the lot is pretty shadowed from almost everything around it, and instead of the headsets we have the loudspeaker box thing that you can hear through the whole restaurant. We had a bit of a rush going on, so I've got the window left open to make things go by a bit smoother. At the window is a cop car, on duty mind you, and the people that just pulled up to the speaker have obviously been partying. I ask them to hang on for a second while I help the cops, and I hear, "Driver, okay, no problem." Passenger 1, "Crap, there's a freaking cop up there." Passenger 2, "Dude, hide the crap." Driver, "Guys, chill out, they'll never know. They'll get their stuff and leave." Passenger cop, on the radio, "Suspicious activity in DQ drive-thru. Heard over speaker. Permission to investigate." Radio, "Yeah, go ahead. Kind of a small town. Things are informal." Driver cop, "Sorry but we gotta hold up your line a bit." Me, "S okay, I'll just step out back for a smoke." Driver cop, "Sure, enjoy the show." Our whole crew spends the next half hour out back watching these guys get pulled out of the car and arrested. The cops have asked that Dairy Queen never get rid of that speaker system. The other one has the roles reversed a bit. I'm still working at that Dairy Queen, but I made the butt of myself. The speaker goes off. I go to answer it, but instead of the normal greeting I'll let out this gigantic belch. I instinctively let go of the button. My manager comes around the corner. Please tell me that didn't just go over the speaker. She got answered by the people at the menu. Nice rip, man. Can we order now? I have the inverse. Two things. First, 1. The communicators, back in 1993, required that I hold down the button to speak to the customers, and that button was on a pack that I wore around my waist which connected to my headset. While the button's pressed, the customer can't be heard, and vice versa. 1. Receipt printers have a problem, occasionally, where the paper doesn't align with the output port properly, so while it prints the receipt the paper just folds over on itself in the machine. Standard night at Whataburger chain here in Texas, and I was working drive-thru in the graveyard shift. Standard car full of people at my speaker, probably just leaving a club or bar. They have nothing remarkable about their order, but after they give it to me and I tell them their total and suggest they drive up to the window, the receipt gets caught. I start muttering to myself something along the lines of motherfreaking piece of crap, cocksucker, when I realize I'm still holding the talk button down. My wide eyes met the cook's, who heard my mini tirade loud and clear through the grill speaker. My mind goes over what it must have sounded like to the customers. Your total will be $17.43. Please drive to the window. Motherfreaking piece of crap. Cocksucker. I took my finger off the button and heard silence. They'd pulled forward. When the car got to the window, a woman hands me the money and says, "Here you go, you motherfucking piece of crap." She was smiling and everyone in the car was laughing. TLDR. Went off script from the traditional drive-thru spiel, calling a car full of people cocksuckers. A few months back, I asked a customer to pull around after taking his order. He then said to the passenger, "That girl sounds really freaking retarded." I said back, "The girl who sounds retarded is in school to be a paramedic. Don't get injured." My sister thinks it hilarious to make sure the people who take the order understand that her food is to go. 2 burgers to go. Okay, $2 at the window. And it's to go, right? She thinks it's so dang funny and everyone is just like, okay. I work at Subway. One time an elderly couple came in and the man was ordering a footlong to share with his wife. The man asked for jalapenos, to which the lady responded, "Are you freaking serious? You know I can't have that crap." Then she proceeded to beat the poor old man. TLDR. Woman, about 70 years old, full on punching her husband at Subway for asking for the wrong veggies. Upvote for the N-tilde. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.